He felt it first as a child, a tingling, a hum. The world was alive with unseen currents, whispering secrets only he could perceive. His name was John, and he was different. John possessed what some called psychic flesh, an uncanny sensitivity to the ebb and flow of human emotion, thought, even memory. He could sense the lingering echoes of past events in the very walls around him, taste the residue of joy or despair in the air. This gift, however, was a double-edged sword. The world, awash in a cacophony of psychic noise, overwhelmed him. He retreated inward, seeking solace in the quiet corners of his own mind. There, he honed his abilities, learning to navigate the swirling vortex of emotions and thoughts that surrounded him. But his isolation was a prison of its own making. His existence did not remain secret for long. Whispers of a boy with strange abilities reached the ears of those in power. The government, ever hungry for an edge, saw in John a valuable asset. They promised him understanding, a chance to explore the full potential of his gift. He was young, naive, he believed them. They came for him in the dead of night, men in dark suits and sterile smiles. They ushered him into cold, sterile rooms where machines hummed and needles pricked. His every thought, every feeling laid bare before the cold scrutiny of science. They dissected his abilities, reducing his gift to a series of data points on a screen. He became a specimen, a subject, a lab rat. The experiments intensified. They pushed him to his limits and beyond, testing the boundaries of his psychic flesh. He saw things no human was meant to see, felt the raw, untamed power of the collective unconscious surge through him. His pleas for mercy fell on deaf ears. They saw only the potential, the weapon he could become. His mind, once a sanctuary, became a battleground. The constant intrusion, the relentless probing, chipped away at his sanity. He was trapped, a prisoner in his own body, his gift twisted into a curse. They had taken everything from him, his freedom, his privacy, his very sense of self. John eventually broke free from his physical confines. It was a desperate, harrowing escape fueled by adrenaline and a sliver of hope. But the outside world offered little solace. He was a fugitive, hunted by the very people who promised to understand him. The law, a tool wielded by the powerful, branded him a danger, a threat to national security. His abilities, once a source of wonder, now made him an outcast. People recoiled from him, their fear palpable. He was a walking paradox, hyper-aware yet utterly alone. The world, once alive with unseen connections, had become a cold, unforgiving place. Section 5. Echoes in the Silence. John sought refuge in the shadows, moving from city to city, always looking over his shoulder. He found solace in the forgotten corners of society, among the outcasts and the downtrodden, those who knew what it meant to be different, to be feared. Their stories resonated with his own, tales of exploitation and abuse at the hands of those in power. He used his abilities to help where he could, easing pain, offering glimpses of hope in the darkness. But the fight had taken its toll. He was weary, the constant struggle for survival wearing him down. He yearned for a world where he could live without fear, where his gift would be understood, not exploited. John's existence became a cautionary tale, whispered in hushed tones among those who dared to question the status quo. He was a living embodiment of the dangers of unchecked technological advancement, of a government more concerned with control than with the welfare of its citizens. His story highlighted the growing disconnect between humanity and the technologies it created. Technologies that promised progress but often came at a steep price. The erosion of privacy, the suppression of individuality, the dehumanization of those deemed different. The world, increasingly reliant on technology, seemed to be losing its capacity for empathy, for understanding. John's legal battles dragged on, a testament to the Kafkaesque absurdity of a system rigged against him. The courts, blinded by fear and prejudice, saw him as a threat to be contained, not a victim seeking justice. The evidence against him was circumstantial, based on the testimony of those who feared what they didn't understand. He became a symbol, a lightning rod for society's anxieties about those who dared to challenge the established order. His case sparked heated debates about the limits of government power, the ethics of genetic manipulation, and the very definition of what it meant to be human. The world watched, captivated and horrified in equal measure. Despite the overwhelming odds, John refused to give up hope. He found strength in the solidarity of others who had been marginalized and oppressed. Civil rights groups, scientists who dared to question the ethics of their peers, ordinary citizens who recognized the injustice of his treatment. They rallied to his cause, their voices adding to his own. His story, once suppressed, began to reach a wider audience. The media, initially hesitant, started to report on his plight, drawn to the human drama at the heart of the case. Public opinion, swayed by the sheer injustice of his situation, began to shift. The struggle for recognition and justice is a long and arduous one, but John knew he was not alone. His case, though unique in its specifics, spoke to a universal human experience, the struggle for autonomy, for dignity, for the freedom to be oneself in a world that often demands conformity. His fight was about more than just one man's right to exist. It was about the soul of humanity itself. It was a fight for a future where difference was celebrated, not feared, where technology served humanity, not the other way around. It was a fight for a world where everyone, regardless of their abilities, could live with dignity and respect. The fight continues.